So it's great to be here today, my name is John Martin, and I'm the CEO of Sanoma Learning, and I'd like to talk you through our view on some of the trends that we believe are going to shape the next generation of learning. Now, apart from the obvious advantages, the social advantages of education, it's a big market. About $4.4 trillion a year are spent on education. About 1.5 billion students are involved in education, and it's about 6% of overall GDP. If you look at all of the segments in education, the biggest of those segments is K through 12. About 60% of total spend is on K through 12. And digital is growing really fast. It's about 23% a year forecasted in the next few years. If we look at where the funding for EdTech is going today, very strongly to North America, about 10 times as much funding for North American EdTech companies when compared with Europe, where the markets are quite small and fragmented. Having said that, there are 3,000 e-learning companies in Europe today. And to say something about Sanoma Learning, we serve about 1 million teachers and 10 million pupils every day in the K through 12 education space. We're an integral and a leading player in some of the world's best performing education systems: Finland, the Netherlands, Belgium, Poland, Sweden. It's an all-star cast of PISA. We employ about 1,600 people and about 10 times that many freelancers in creating our learning solutions. And we're passionate about enabling teachers to develop the talents of every child. We're also a front runner on the digital transformation. So on sales of about 300 million euros, we make about 50 million euros of pure play digital and 100 million of multi-channel sales, making Sanoma Learning probably continental Europe's biggest EdTech player today in the K-12 space. And we have 3 goals. We want to make a positive impact on learning. And what we really want to do is to help every child to achieve the best outcome that they possibly can in the most time and cost-effective way, and keeping pupils and teachers engaged on the journey of learning so they stay motivated to learn for the longer term. And we believe that there are 3 cornerstones to excellence in education. The first one is that the teacher is the killer app of education. And nobody knows this better than Finland. Finland has the best teachers in the world. Finland, you should cherish your teachers. They're the heroes and the heroines of your society, and they make a huge positive impact on education. The second cornerstone is that motivated pupils are engaged to learn and will go further. And the third cornerstone is that learning solutions are high-impact enablers. And about 1% of the spend in education today goes on learning solutions. But the impact of those learning solutions on the effectiveness of the 99% of the other spend is quite gigantic. We see 7 trends that are going to shape the next generation of learning in the K through 12 space. And I'd like to talk you through those right now. So the first one is from input to impact. Traditionally, there's been a lot of emphasis in education on the inputs, the number of pupils in the classroom, the number of hours of class time, and so on. These are all inputs. But really, it's about the outcomes or the impact. Are we helping pupils to make progress on their learning career? Are we helping them to get into good jobs? And are we helping them to become good citizens in society? But these are really, really big questions, and it's also very, very lagging before you know the answer. So we need to break this down into more bite-sized pieces. And for each activity, each course or each lesson, does this contribute to a great learning result for each of the pupils in that class? Did it happen in the most time and cost-effective way? And did it engage them so they were motivated to continue learning? And I believe that the companies that get that right in the future will have a competitive advantage. The second trend that we have is from mass to personal. Technology is going to enable us to tailor the pedagogy, the curriculum, the learning support to the individual needs and the individual aspirations of each pupil. And this personalization of learning will lead to an improvement in the return on education and better life chances for pupils. The third trend that we see is from workload to workflow. We did an ethnographic study in Finland a couple of years ago, and we were surprised to see that on average, approximately 15 hours per week per teacher were lost in bottlenecks in their non-curriculum workflow. This was really ineffective channels of communication, administrative work, and manual work. 15 hours per week. Imagine if a teacher would spend those 15 hours per week on teaching instead. Imagine the impact on learning. And think also about the cost for a typical primary school in Finland. That's equivalent to about €500,000 per year. Those resources need to get focused on learning and teaching. That will be better for education. The fourth trend that we see is from data to insight. A huge stream of data is going to become available for education in the next few years about individual pupils, courses, content, schools, entire education systems. And we're going to be able to use those insights to guide intervention, to focus on those things that improve learning and motivate children, and to stop doing those things that don't add value. Big data is going to be big in education. The fifth trend that we see is from classroom to borderless. In the analog world, the center of learning was the classroom, whereas digital puts the individual at the center of learning. We have a very strange situation in education today where there might typically be 10 devices per household, but 10 pupils for every device in the school environment. And for this reason, we're seeing increasing demand to play our learning solutions also in the home environment. And we expect a lot of the disruption in education is going to come from there in the future. The sixth trend that we see is from 20th century to 21st century learning. Digital is going to allow us to develop new skills and also new collaboration skills. And this will move us away from lower level learning, where people are focusing on remembering and understanding, into higher level learning, where their pupils are focusing on critical thinking and problem solving skills. And this will better prepare them for the future. And the final trend that we see, and maybe the most important and interesting of all, is from scarcity to abundance. Education has traditionally been the preserve of the happy few, the rich countries. And happily, that's changing dramatically for the better. During the last 20 years, absolute poverty on our planet has approximately halved. And there are some who say that within the next 20 years, it will disappear from our planet. Going hand in hand with this rising prosperity is increasing mobile technology. Now, imagine a world where the world's rising 4 billion, the 4 billion people who are rising out of poverty, get access to mobile learning. Imagine the impact that that will have on our people and planet. So we believe that education is at the dawn of a new era, a dawn of embracing digital, and that now is the time to invest in the next generation. We don't believe we can do it all alone. We need to work together with partners in this. We're investing in most of those areas ourselves, but we definitely want to work together with new partners. And we'd like to invite you to join us in making a positive impact on the next generation of learning and teaching. We will be running a session starting today at 3:30 in room 207, led by Sanoma Pro, the market leader here in Finland. And we'd like to invite you to join that session. So thank you for listening. My time is up, I think. Any time for questions? I think I'm out of time here. Okay, thank you for listening.